Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. You know, we love talking to local authors, and Broken Keys Publishing has been sending us some fantastic authors. My next guest is one of those authors. I am joined by Allysina Shinestone. She's the author of the paranormal fantasy novel series called Balancing Reality. Welcome.
Hi,
Great to have you here. You know, I obviously wanted to give Michelle a shout out right off the top there, and we'll get to that relationship because I understand you were self-publishing for a while, but before we even get to that, tell me about your background as an author. When did you start writing, Allysina?
I mean, I started writing ever since I was young, but it really started with this series when, COVID hit, because what else could you do but sit and write?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2018, that's when I started, and it just took off ever since.
So you had, I mean, a lot of people just start with one novel, but you thought in your mind that you wanted to do a series. Talk to me about that decision and why.
Well, when you start with one, it's like, okay, let's see where the characters are going to take you, but then the characters took the whole plot and just moved it to basically going to be 8 books.
So you didn't necessarily have in mind that you were going to do a series while you were writing that first book?
No, it was going to be, let's get it short, sweet, simple, and it said no.
Okay. So first of all, let's talk about that first book, some of the characters that we meet in that first book and the plot line, and then we can sort of move along with it from there.
So the main character is your heroine, Clarissa Vincent, and she's a typical high school student going into her first year at high school. Okay. And basically she it's usually the whole mess that she's getting in on the first day, but then she meets the new boy, and the new boy brings a little bit of chaos with him. I don't want to say too much,
okay.
But with the chaos brings the supernatural, and now she has to balance both everyday struggles like parents, homework, and boys, and now the supernatural as well, which creates a lot of balancing reality.
I guess, yeah, because you call it, what, a coming-of-age, sort of paranormal fantasy novel.
Yes.
Was that something that you always loved? Is that why you sort of chose this direction?
Definitely, because when I was writing it, I wanted it to be meant for people so that they can be like, oh, this is something relatable in my life. And the fiction, when I say so, is more of protecting the innocent.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So who do you gear the books towards, would you say? What's your demographic?
Definitely mature youth. So I would say about 12 years old and then upwards.
Okay.
Pretty much it is meant for anyone, and it comes in many different formats too, so anyone can enjoy it.
You say mature youth. Why do you use that language?
Because there is a bit of swearing. I mean, teenagers being teenagers, but there's also a bit of graphic scenery as well, grotesque blood, gore, and that's.
I like how nonchalant you are. Just, you know, some of the basics, like your blood and your gore. So you start with book one, and then I guess you said to yourself, I've got something here. There's something interesting. I love the characters, and that brings us into book two. Tell me how you sort of developed the story after that first book.
So with book one, there is one character who is mentioned, but then comes into book two as the kind of main protagonist, and that's not protagonist, antagonist, and that's when the main character, Clarissa, and the main boy in the story, they have to try and avoid him, and then once he's apprehended, that's when book three starts to occur.
What's interesting here is that you can do that, right? You can introduce everybody to a character who maybe, you know, is kind of in the background, and then, you know, once you start writing that new book, you're like, hey, I've got something here.
Here's the book for something else.
Right. So what is the process then of you sitting down and writing a book? Does it just sort of free flow, or do you do little bubbles and you know, try to grab little plot lines all over the place?
I am all about notebooks. I have so many notebooks filled with lots of notes. Very much, I start with one concept and I go through chapters, and if I don't like something, then I change it later. So pretty much, like, I'm on editing book 6 right now, so if you can imagine, like, I already have book 7 pre-ready, but it's still like I'm a book ahead, just to be ready for when a next character changes something out of unexpectedly for me.
So you said 8 books in now?
7.
Okay, 7 books in with, obviously, I know you're going to continue. 7 books in, and like, you started in 2018 and you've already written 7 books?
Yes.
That's incredible. Now, I know you had some challenges in those first few years. That's why we're going to talk about Broken Keys. But just tell me, what were some of those challenges as an author trying to get your content and your material out there?
So yes, I actually was a self-published author for the first 4 of these, and it was actually quite recently when I've met Broken Keys Publishing that it took me into proportion. But with self-publishing, you're doing everything yourself. You're doing the editing, you're doing the cover art, which all of these are my own cover art creations, and then you have to find your own way to upload it and then either print it and search out printing corporations, that kind of thing, and then go to markets and try to make yourself, you know, interesting to the people. And even though they're more interested in the display than your book, but I mean...
No, but that's all part of it. All this, you're not just an author, you're a business person all of a sudden, right? You have to take all the... You did bring some things along. Why some of these visuals that you brought along with you today?
As I mentioned, when people are, I go to fairs mostly, and when I do, what catches the eye the most is my displays. I usually have 2, at least, big displays where it's more of a occultish, creepy looking, and then writing utensils, and of course they come over and they're like, is this for sale? I'm like, no, but these are. And that's what really draws them over. The kids especially, they like the diamonds and they run off with them. They think it's a game, but it's all fine.
So you mentioned, when you met Broken Keys, they changed things for you. In what manner? What did they help you with in particular?
Basically, self-confidence is the main thing. And then it was reaching out to different organizations, different fairs, individuals like yourself. Without them, I would not be here today in this lovely studio. But it's also, they helped me with better pricing for the books, and I just... I also got awarded, or I was nominated for an award last year, and I still don't know who did it. So
for author of the year, you were awarded for here in Ottawa. Congratulations on. Where can people pick up a copy of your books? Where can they find you?
They can either find me online, either using the QR codes, or they can find on Amazon. There's also different formats. So there's physical copy, digital copy, and the first 2 have audiobook.
Fantastic. Oh, that is just absolutely amazing. Congratulations on all your success so far. Really appreciate you joining us. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.